Hi there. Today I'm going to discuss one of the major traits of successful traders. For the past 26 years I've been trading in the markets, I've also been observing what are the traits of successful traders that make money consistently. As an observer of the markets and being on the trading floor a couple of times, and as you can see, this is actually the photo that I took when I was in the VIX pit as an observer, not a trader, as an observer. And you can see that trading in general is actually very challenging, especially if you're a retail trader, unless you are an institution or you trade for like a hedge fund or a big, you have a big amount of money where you're on the floor, then it's a totally different story. Notice here, you don't see any charts, but you will see everything is all about price, and you'll see people who is actually trading. Very similarly, like if you go to New York Stock Exchange, for example, you see two people, but you don't really see charts or graphs like this as for retail traders. Because if you are not educated, you don't have the skill set, or you don't have the experience, trading is pretty much like gambling, where you're just creating as part of your own perception, whether if you're going to be buy and sell based on what we call your cognitive bias. If it looks good for you, then you will buy. If it doesn't look good for you, you will sell, or vice versa. And that being said, it's a 50-50 chance. But the question is, how are you going to increase your probability through winning? I would say that trading is like sports. As a martial artist for Taekwondo and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, for me, it's very similar to trading. You cannot compete in a tournament with full of black belts if you're a white belt, meaning that if you are new to the game, the chances that you're going to win against someone who has the skill set, who's been training for a long time, or against a black belt is very slim. Trading, in my opinion, is also very similar, where there's a lot of trader black belts, as I call it, and they're trading for a lot of money. People are more hungrier than you. People have a lot of resources than you. People have more experience and knowledge. So if you're doing this by yourself, I would recommend for you to get educated. Don't do it by yourself, because if you notice, say an athlete who's training for the Olympics, will train for 4 years almost and will sacrifice a lot of time just and dedicate itself for training. In trading, whether if you're going to do this part-time or full-time, then I would recommend for you to have a good methodology, having the right mindset. So there's based on what I call the 3 aspects of conditioning for preparation: mental, physical, and technical conditioning. So today's video, on the other hand, is discussing more in terms from the mindset component and what are really these traits that successful traders do have. If the success rate is the success rate is about 5% to 25% of retail traders that make money consistently, then what do they do differently compared to the 75% that fail to make money? So trading is a journey. As a full-time trader, it is definitely challenging. Sometimes, you make money. Sometimes you lose money. Sometimes it is getting a lot of pressure, a lot of stress in order to perform, in order to make money consistently. So the first trait that I'm going to share with you is about courage, or having the level of confidence. What is confidence? Confidence is having the belief and trust in oneself that you can do it. Through childbirth, you will always have that, because if you see a child, it doesn't know, and plus you don't know anyway whether what the child is actually thinking. They will communicate it with you with 3 different types of cry. Either they're hungry, they are wet, or they're not feeling well. So they'll have different cries. But it's up to the parent, to the mother and father, to actually distinguish these cries. So from that perspective, when a child wants to walk first from the back to the front, they will go on their knees, they'll start to crawl, and then they will start to walk. So just imagine if the child didn't have the level of confidence in order for the child to walk. The child will never ever walk. So the question is, when did we stop in terms of our level of confidence. It stops based from an outside environment, creating a belief that you cannot do it. For example, an incident that maybe you lost in the past, maybe you had a low grade, maybe someone told you that you're not good enough, someone maybe told you that you're a loser. And now that when you start trading, it reflects and manifests itself from a subconscious component, from a limiting belief that you cannot do it. And hence, the ego pops out, and as the false level of confidence will occur, being the arrogant state, rather than the pure confidence that we can do it. Sometimes we create a mask from the outside, thinking that we're really confident, but deep down inside, you're actually very, very fearful. And hence why a lot of traders won't execute when it's time to execute. And the reason being is because of the emotion of fear, the level of uncertainty of where the direction of price is going to go, especially if they're losing money, and then impulsion will happen, anxiety will kick in, self-doubt will kick in, and then cascades of losses after losses will impact the level of confidence. And sometimes people will measure their level of confidence based on the end result of what they're going to have, which is that if I am going to win 3 in a row, or I say I made an X amount of money, then I'll be more confident with my own methodology. Or they will go from a demo trading component where, okay, if I'm going to demo trade, and if I see that the methodology works, then this is the only time I'm going to put real money on the line. In my opinion, demo trading doesn't work, because for me, it's like martial arts. I can teach you how to punch, I can teach you how to kick, I can teach you how to do an armbar. But the question is, how are you going to apply that kick and punch, that armbar, or that choke in an environment where the other person is also moving, where the other person can react? For me, as a trader and also as a teacher or a mentor, I always believe that by teaching someone in a live environment, and you're putting a live trade, this will help the student to create some form of habitual practices as a form of a discipline, and also to gain that level of confidence to show whether the theory really works in real time. But the question is, what happens if it doesn't work? Well, this is where I educate students to say that, hey, losing is part of the game, and that if we win all the time, then great, then there's something that we don't really need to learn or need to work on. But if it didn't work, then what can we improve on mentally, psychologically, and physically and technically? So from this perspective, by putting in live trades, it's like sparring at the dojo to test your skills in an environment, also to compete. That's why also I love competing, is that I want to test my skill set from someone I don't know, where a lot of emotions is actually being put into place within that moment. The anxiety will kick in, the butterflies will kick in, the self-doubt will kick in, and how can you control those emotions? So that's why when you're new to the game and you're learning and you're a novice, I would recommend not have the level of expectation that you're going to make money at the very beginning. That the level of expectation is of an expectation coming from a disciple that you are learning, that expect losing as part of the game, expect a lot of mistakes that needs to be done. And this is why it's important to have a mentor or a coach, because that coach would be able to help you and see the 180 degrees that you don't see that's behind you, mentally, physically, and technically. So great traders will have that level of confidence because the amount of practice that they've done. Research shows that it takes 10,000 hours to master one skill. It doesn't matter whether it be trading, playing the piano, playing the guitar, kicking, doing some form of sports, shooting. It will take that amount of hours in order to master it. So hence, from that perspective, there's a really great traders will know exactly when to enter, when to exit as part of their intuition, is because of the level of confidence based on what they can, or the ability that they can do when it comes to trading. Says, well, when it's time to trade, it's time to trade. When it's time to execute, it's time to execute. There's no hesitation when it comes to pressing the trigger. They know automatically in terms of the amount of risk they're willing to take. They know when to exit. They will follow their intuition. That's part of the level of confidence. When you're confident, you can control that emotion of fear, emotion of self-doubt, because confidence is confidence. That means that you trust yourself and that you believe in yourself and you believe in your own ability that you can do it. All right, so that's the first trait part of this series. I hope you enjoy that. If you like this type of videos, please make sure to subscribe to our channel, leave some comments, give us a heads up, thumbs up, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Keep an eye on the second series and part of the second trait. Take care until next time. Happy trading. Bye now.